What if the plainest teacup in your cabinet, the one you have poured coffee into 100 times without a second thought, is worth more than everything else on that shelf combined? 10 of these overlooked cups have quietly sold for hundreds, some for thousands. And one of them is so unusual that collectors hunt it with a Geiger counter because it is mildly radioactive, and they pay more for it, not less. Let us find out if one of them is sitting in your kitchen right now. Here is the truth most people never hear. The words on the bottom of a cup, bone china, fine china, hand decorated, mean almost nothing on their own. They are printed on tens of millions of cups, and most of those cups are worth $10 or $15. Nobody ever taught you to look past the words. Value does not live in the label. It lives in the mark, the pattern, the condition, and whether the saucer still matches, because collectors buy pairs, not orphans. Get those right, and an ordinary-looking cup can quietly outprice a diamond ring. Now let me be honest with you the way a real dealer would, because I have watched families guess wrong in both directions. Your cup is almost certainly not the legendary Chinese chicken cup that sold at auction for tens of millions of dollars. Only a tiny handful of those exist anywhere on Earth. But the gap between a $10 cup and a $2,000 cup hides in plain sight. And for every one of these 10, I will give you a test you can do tonight, with your own hands, no expert required. If you have ever inherited a cabinet and wondered what is really in there, hit subscribe, because that is exactly what this channel does. Now, from the strange to the radioactive, let's count them down. Number 10. The mustache cup. If a cup in your cabinet has a strange little porcelain ledge inside the rim, like a tiny bridge, do not let anyone tell you it is broken. That ledge is Victorian engineering. It kept a gentleman's waxed moustache out of his tea, and these odd cups are quietly collected worldwide. Your test tonight: look inside the rim for that bridge, then check the bottom for a maker's mark. Marked and ornate ones climb into the low hundreds, and the left-handed versions, ledge reversed, are said by collectors to be far rarer. The loss. These get sold in box lots as damaged cups with a weird shelf. The weird shelf is the value. Number 9. Nippon, with the raised decoration they call morage, say it morage. Over a century ago, American law began requiring imports to carry their country's name, and Japanese China carried the word Nippon until the early 1920s, which means that single word is a sealed 30-year window. If the bottom says Nippon, the cup cannot be newer than that era. Your test: read the word Nippon, not Japan, then feel the raised beading. Genuine morage was piped on like cake icing and dried into hard clay. It feels crisp under your fingertip, while the fakes feel like soft plastic paint. Decorated pieces run into the low hundreds. The loss: the word gets read as old Japanese junk, and the time capsule goes to the donation box. Number 8. Copeland Spode. And this is the only cup tonight you can identify with your eyes closed. The great English maker stamped its early marks straight into the wet clay, deep and uninked, no colour at all. Your test: close your eyes and run a fingertip across the base. A real impressed Copeland reads like Braille under your skin. You will feel the letters before you ever see them, while modern reprints are flat-printed ink. Fine examples run into the low hundreds. The loss: because the mark has no ink, it is invisible at a glance, so nobody at the estate sale ever sees it. Your fingertip sees what everyone's eyes miss. Number 7. Belleek, from Ireland. And this one hides a calendar in plain sight. Belleek porcelain is famously thin, almost eggshell, with a pearly shimmer, shamrocks, and basket weave. The secret: the colour of the mark is a clock, the old era's, from the 1860s into the middle of the 20th century, used black marks, the later ones green, so ink colour alone places your cup generations apart in value. Your test. Hold it up to a bulb. Real Belleek glows paper thin. Then check the mark colour. Black is the one that climbs into the hundreds. The loss. The thinnest and oldest pieces get tossed first because they feel the flimsiest. The flimsiness is the craftsmanship. Number 6. Royal Winton chintz, the cup your family calls too busy. Chintz means the flowers never stop, outside, inside, sometimes the handle itself. In the 30s, these were affordable English cheer. Today, documented sales put sets in the several $100 range. One 15-piece set brought $700 to $900, and single cups run $30 to $80 and rising. Your test. Look for the all-over pattern with no white gaps. Then find the pattern name on the base, names like Summertime and Marguerite. The loss. The busy one gets called gaudy and boxed up, while the plain cup beside it gets kept. The gaudy one was the money. Number 5. Coalport, the jewelled cups. Some Coalport pieces are covered in tiny raised turquoise domes, like strings of miniature beads, every single one applied by hand, which is exactly why the real thing is climbing. Your test. Run a fingernail gently across the beading. True jewelling is hard, raised enamel. It stops your nail like a speed bump, while printed imitations are dead flat. Your nail glides right over. Jeweled pieces run into the hundreds, and the finest go far beyond. The loss. That painstaking handwork gets mistaken for costume-level decoration, and the most labour-intensive cups in the cabinet get priced like carnival prizes. Number 4. R.S. Prussia, from Germany, 1800s, and now we are in real money. Documented auction results for the fine Art Nouveau cups and saucers run $300 to $500. The mark is a small red wreath and star, and because of those prices, it is heavily imitated. Your test. Ignore the mark first and feel the cup. Real R.S. Prussia is paper thin, with moulded relief like folded fabric and a satiny finish. A thick, clumsy cup wearing a perfect mark is the copy. The loss, and this one hurts. Real pieces get sold for pocket change because someone says Prussia is not even a country anymore. The country is gone. The porcelain is climbing. Number 3. Meissen, the crossed swords. The oldest porcelain in Europe and the most imitated mark in China history. 3 centuries of copies created something strange. Real Meissen gets dismissed because everyone assumes it is fake. Genuine later period cups bring a few $100s, and the early pieces bring serious money. Your test. The real swords are painted by hand, in blue, under the glaze, slightly imperfect, sitting beneath the shine. A perfectly printed mark riding on top of the glaze is the copy. The loss. Real swords in the cabinet, waved off with everyone has fake Meissen, and sold in the box with the mugs. Number 2. Royal Worcester, say it Worcester, the hand-painted fruit cups, and the most beautiful secret of the night, a birthday hidden in a ring of dots. For a stretch of years around the turn of the last century, the factory added one tiny dot around its mark each passing year. Count the dots, add them to 1891, and the cup tells you the exact year it was born. Your test. Zoom your phone camera in on the mark and count, then look beside the painted fruit for the artist's signature, because these were painted by named artists, one cup at a time. Signed, hand-painted fruit cups have documented sales from around $400 to well past $1,000. The loss. The dots get read as printing flecks, and a dated, signed, hand-painted treasure gets priced like a souvenir. And number 1, the radioactive one. Fiesta Red. That famous deep orange-red American cup from the 30s, coloured with actual uranium oxide, documented at up to roughly 14% of the glaze by weight. Production stopped mid-century when the government took the uranium for the war effort, sealing the original red pieces into an era of their own. And the part nobody believes, the radioactive red is the most sought-after Fiesta colour, Collectors bring Geiger counters to estate sales, and the crackle is the authentication. The honest safety note, displayed on a shelf, it is considered fine. Just do not eat acidic food off it every day. Your test, the unmistakable orange-red, the vintage markings underneath. And if you can borrow a counter, the cup will introduce itself. Red cups and saucers run into the low hundreds as the story spreads. The loss? Grandma's orange cup goes to the donation box by families who would faint if they knew why the man at the estate sale smiled. So here are the 3 rules that keep a priceless cup priceless. 1. Read the whole mark, the words, the ink colour, and the tiny dots, because tonight, every fortune lived on the bottom of the cup. 2. Never separate a cup from its saucer. Collectors buy the pair, and splitting them cuts the value with your own hands. And 3. Never scrub the gold, and never run it through a dishwasher. Worn gold is money going down the drain, one wash at a time. So the bottom line is simple. The front of the cup is a decoration. The bottom of the cup is a bank statement. And in almost every American cabinet, there is at least one cup whose statement has never once been read. So now I want to hear from you. What is the oldest cup in your house? And who did it come from? Your mother, a grandmother, an estate you helped clear? Tell me in the comments. The story of who owned it is half the value, and I read every single one. And subscribe, because next we do exactly this for the plates and the crystal in the same cabinet.